I'm a DJ boy, going to Dcentral, minting NFT, farming DeFi, being crypto poor but JPay rich.
There is a phrase, not your keys, not your crypto. Well, our next speaker has a play on that phrase, so please join me in welcoming to stage the representative from Jackal, Patrick Dunlop.
Can you hear me okay? Perfect. So my name is Patrick. I'm one of the co-founders of Jackal. And what Jackal does is we build digital privacy infrastructure and also cybersecurity solutions. So what I'm going to be talking about today is the current state of the internet and what we think we can do to help. So right now if you look up there, it's the usual suspects that we're all accustomed to. So there's about 7 companies that have consolidated power over the internet. They have a price monopoly on data storage. They also control the flow of information. When you have centralized infrastructure like this, you also have really high security vulnerabilities. A lot of my team, our backgrounds, we come from digital forensics. We also come from digital investigations for law firms, corporations. And when the largest platforms right now, they're not open source. They don't develop how they train their algorithms. They don't share often how they disclose and leverage your data. They also don't share how they secure your data, and most importantly, they don't share how they control the flow of information. So they all have very similar business models, and they all prioritize user engagement and growth. They race for the attention marketplace, and they also mine your data and sell it for profit. When you have a business model like this, often these 3 points trump the ethics of the software that's being built, and they also release invisible harms to society. What harms you ask? If you scan this QR code right now, it'll take you to the Center of Humane Technology, and they can talk about all the different things that are occurring, and how we know that these specific issues and these harms to society are occurring is when you ask the tech leaders themselves, they say things like, I don't use that shit, or they say other things like, dopamine-driven feedback loops have created a serious issue, and they're also destroying how society works. That would be the former VP of Facebook. So right now when you have centralized infrastructure like this, you also have centralized choke points of failure that can be really dangerous. And right now they're also being leveraged for different use cases, whether that be military, whether that be government, whether to control populations or as a military tool. Between 2005 and 2021, there's been a total of 469 total government-imposed internet shutdowns, which are a violation of the human rights according to the United Nations. And the longest shutdown in history is currently ongoing between June 19th, 2019 to now in the Myanmar military coup. So when you have all these centralized choke points of failure, you also have really bad cybersecurity vulnerabilities when your data is free-flowing and you don't really have good controls. There's about 14 billion compromised assets out there. There's countless attack vectors, that is emails, passwords, phone numbers, usernames, and it seems like every other day when you look at the news, you'll see XYZ company has been hit with another cyber attack and all this information has been dumped online. What does that mean necessarily? That means that all these different attack vectors that are personal to users, personal to organizations, are shared in plain text often on the open internet. So I decided to bring a little bit of black hat to Decentral, and when I first got here, I took the public-facing email address of the chief of police for Austin, and if you notice and you cross-reference that with 14 billion compromised assets, you get his username. If you take his username and then you again cross-reference that with the 14 billion different compromised assets, you get his non-public facing email, and you also get his password. Situations like this occur every single day. My background is I would work in things like this for law firms, and we would secure organizations. And something specific, we wonder why we have a really big ransomware problem right now, and reasons like this exist. So this is also a Web3 problem. Right now, every single DApp, they leverage centralized storage layers. They also leverage centralized middleware. When you have that, you have the same attack vectors. You have your data is mined and sold for profit by these organizations. You have censorship issues, and you have no privacy. Also, when Amazon goes down, you'll also notice that all of Web3 weirdly goes down as well. So how can we help? We can help secure the storage layer. We can help with the flow of information with the highest digital privacy and cybersecurity posture available on market right now. We can obsess over ethical and humane core values. We can also put the power back in the user's hands. We leverage all kinds of different protocols to get this to occur, and we've kind of created a big web of protocols that we're leveraging to create this peer-to-peer network of decentralized nodes. If you think about it this way, it's kind of if you took the Tor browser, took BitTorrent and Cosmos smart contracts, you mix them together, that's what Jackal is essentially. So in the development pipeline right now, we have the Shepherd Web Gateway, we have the Retriever name service, we also have Jackal Storage, which is a flagship product. A Retriever name service is a name service that we launched, it's on mainnet right now. If you purchase it, it auto-resolves to 14 different Cosmos chains. But most importantly, and the reason why we built it, you can send data between two human readable names that kind of increases that ease of use and user experience. Shepherd Web Gateway, what that does is you can host static websites right now. And with Jackal Storage, it has the highest digital privacy and cybersecurity posture available on market, where only the end user with their private key can access and share their data. We're open source, and additionally, we can't access your data. We're locked out from the ground up. It's like your own personal SSD in the cloud, really. So we follow the Amazon S3 standard. I know Amazon's a trigger word for a lot of you, but it's just a standard that we follow to hook into a lot of enterprise clients, for example. We bring speed, utility, privacy by default. We're fully decentralized with the highest digital privacy, cybersecurity posture available. All of our users get to own their own data, and that's something that's true to the core of our ethos, our vision. And when you own your own data, you're empowered, and you can also sell your own data if you want to sell your own data, but we won't be doing it on your behalf because we are locked out. If you're not really into the security of the whole thing, it's also 50% cheaper than legacy solutions as well. So this is the business to customer product. If you take a look at it, it's really just like a decentralized Dropbox. You drag and drop your files, it gets encrypted in your browser. If you want really high security, you can air gap your computer as well. And then you can push the files to our chain, and we think it's beautiful. So if you want to nerd out on some infrastructure right now, this is how the product works. So when you take a file and you drag and drop it into the client, it gets instantly encrypted from your web browser. At that point, you get a key request and a key result to a blockchain being the secret network. The reason we're on the secret network is it's the only chain with programmable privacy in the metadata. What this gives us the ability to do is we can have all the information needed in the blockchain where only the end user with their private key can access it and share it with an isolated JavaScript client that collects zero data. Once you get that key request and key result, you'll realize that the client will say, okay, this user, importantly, is paid. And then also, it'll tell you that this is where you store the location of the file afterwards. At that time, you pay a little bit gas, and then you push the file to our peer-to-peer network of decentralized nodes. What our decentralized nodes do is it's a caching layer that brings that speed, utility that you're used to when you have Web 2 technology, that you're kind of used to that speed and utility. It gets copied for redundancy, and then after that, we're stored on the Filecoin network. The only way to encrypt and decrypt that file again is associated with the metadata in your secret network smart contract. Once it's stored, the location of the file is sent back to the client, and then it stores it right in that smart contract. Perfect. Okay, retrieving a file, same thing but backwards. So you get a key request and a key result from the secret network. At that time, it tells the client, hey, this is the CID of the file, you got to go find. The client will tell the peer-to-peer network of decentralized nodes, say, okay, go find this file. It'll retrieve the file and send it back to the user. Once it gets back in your client, you get a key request, key result, and then you can decrypt your file. We also want Jackal to be a great asset to own as well, because we want a secondary market for people to hold the token with 6 different revenue streams, 8 different forms of utility, so that we have a secondary market of people that want to purchase it as an asset and reduce the miners just dumping on the entire network and no one wanting the token. So we needed to make sure that it's a great asset to hold as well. If you want to get in touch with us, you can scan the QR code and you'll see our link tree, all of our stuff. You can follow us on Twitter, go to the website, or we're upstairs. If you have any questions, please come by the booth and we would love to talk to you. Thank you so much for having me, and stay safe out there.